it's a holiday season, but we also know that today is the day that referenda is being convened in at least 4 regions for the creation of some 6 regions.
Absolutely. And district election materials have been distributed to all 88 polling stations with 352 electoral officers for today's referendum in the Jasikan district at least.
And we have some 40,285 electorates who are expected to participate in the exercise, which ultimately will justify the demand for a new region by people from territories in the northern and Volta regions. Meanwhile, as at 5 a.m., there was virtually no human activity in the capital, Jasikan, where some 7,654 voters were expected to be casting their ballot. In some of the areas, though, we're told Ghana correspondent that voting has started. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asare has been monitoring events in the area. He's going to join us live on the line, and we'll put some questions to him.
Well, Fred Kwame Asare actually joins us via phone now. Fred, how is the euphoria this morning ahead of the referendum of the creation of the proposed OT region?
Good morning, Mama V. I should say that ahead of today's event, yesterday evening there were a series of activities with regards to campaign in the creation or on the creation of the OT region. Members of the district organizing committee have been moving around, educating people to turn out in their numbers this morning to participate in the referendum. I should say that voting has started in the Jasikan district, for them that the Jasikan township itself. I have visited 2 police stations myself, and then about 20 people were waiting. I was there about 6:55, and about 20 people were in a queue waiting for the starting time to cast their ballots. I moved to another center, and then about 30 people were also in a queue waiting to cast their ballots. But then I should say that the Volta Regional Police Commander has just told me that the ground is not safe, or the OT enclave is not safe for journalists to cover today's referendum. He explains people in the enclave are saying that they will not entertain people they can't identify or non-residents in their areas.
Fred, which particular area are you talking about?
I am in the Jasikan district, but then the commander is referring to the entire OT enclave, that all journalists covering the election in the OT enclave should report at the command center in Jasikan, that is the Boeman Senior High School. He was saying that anybody who would go and then cover the elections, he can't
vouch for their security.
Sure.
So what is he expecting journalists to do then? Because you have
he's
a duty.
saying that we should all converge at the command center, where they will set up a press center and then feed us with the information as and when they receive them. So he's saying that all of us in the OT enclave, people in the Kratchi East, Kratchi West, which is about 2 hours drive from here, we should all hurry up and converge at the Boeman Senior High School for our own safety.
But Fred, usually what the guideline is that you have to be well attired or identified. Let's say having a press badge, etc. Are you well cladded?
I asked him that. I am in the branded Joy News T-shirt. I have my accreditation boldly displayed on me. But he's saying that though the chiefs and other stakeholders have done very well in educating residents, that media personnel and other people will be in their area to observe the elections, they are still picking information that some people are threatening that they wouldn't allow non-residents to cover the elections in the area. That is why he's giving us that advice that we should all converge at one point, where they will set up a press center for us and then feed us with the information as and when they receive them.
Fred, just hang on, because this is still very interesting. Have you received any personal threats?
Mama, come again with the question.
Have you been threatened in any way?
No, not at all. I have been here since yesterday. I arrived in Jasikan about 2 p.m. I went about my exercise. So I went about my coverage. I spoke to people on the street. I took some pictures around. There was no threat or anything of tension in the area. So I was surprised when he mentioned to me this morning that is the information they are picking up and that we should converge at one place for our own safety.
Okay. Well, otherwise, voting is underway in those 2 centers that you visited.
Sure. Voting is underway. And I should say in the entire Jasikan district, at about 4:30 a.m., materials were distributed to all 88 polling stations in the area. There were some areas that are hard to reach. 3 areas on mountains, 3 communities that are situated on mountains. So they had to use motorbikes to dispatch materials there. But then they've also arrived, and that elections are ongoing in all areas in the Jasika district, I should say.
Okay. Fred Kwame Asare, we'll leave it here. We'll try and establish contact with the Volta Regional Commander to speak more about this new directive that is given for journalists to converge in a particular place and not necessarily go into the various areas where voting is underway because of threat to their lives, essentially because he says he cannot assure of their safety. But let me just run you through some of the areas affected in the Volta region, from where Fred Kwame Asare. We've also got Ivy Setoji also stationed in some of the centers. Biakoye district, the Jasikan districts, the KJB district, Kratchi East Municipality, Kratchi West district, Kratchi Chimoro districts, and Nkwanta South Municipality, and Nkwanta North districts. These are the areas affected, and this is where we could possibly get the Oti region coming from in the Volta region. We will go to the Bunohafu region as well, and we will run you through some of the areas affected in the Bunohafu region. But what we are taking you through now is the Volta region, and these are the areas affected. We could possibly, if we get a yes vote, 80% of the votes coming through later today being yes, then we would have the Oti region. Remember, they are voting for the name of the region as well as the creation of the entire region as well. But the report that we're getting from our colleague Fred Kwame Asare this morning is the fact that the regional police commander in the Volta region is asking journalists not to go to the various polling centers because their safety could not be assured. And we're trying to reach the Volta Regional Police Commander to learn more about this threat that he's picking up, what he's picking up from the ground, and why it is not safe for journalists to do their work on the ground, but to converge at one center and get the report from who exactly. A lot of details when we get hold of the Volta Regional Commander. But here are some persons speaking about today's exercise.
Members of the Jasikan District Organizing Committee for the Oti region have been mopping up their campaigns. Information vans are seen with announcers speaking in Tree, Ewe, and Boem, imploring voters in the area to ensure they participate and endorse the creation of the Oti region in the referendum. Meanwhile, the entire Jasikan town had been splashed with Oti region paraphernalia, while some residents are seen in Oti region branded t-shirts to create awareness. Some of the residents who spoke to Joy News are optimistic of a resounding endorsement for the Oti region in the Jasikan district and entire Oti enclave.
Expectation is very high. As I'm standing here, per what our people on the ground told us, they told us that they will be coming out in hundreds and thousands to cast their vote. We are here very high, the spirit is there, the fever is there, the optimism is there, and we hope that by the close of tomorrow, I will not be surprised that the Boem constituency, for that matter, the town I come from, Nsuta community, will record 100% or not even at least 98% of the population turnout to cast their votes for yes, Oti.
Anyway, we have sensitized people very well, and the response is very high. So it is our prayer that tomorrow we have a very good number of turnouts in the various polling stations in the region, and most especially Jasikan and Boem constituency.
The chairman of the Jasikan District Organizing Committee, Asafo Ache Obin Achia, ruled out campaign activities for no vote would affect the voting pattern in the referendum.
I can tell you that my expectation is that we should clinch 100% yes votes, or at least 98%.
Now, this is the area where we've had reports that people were campaigning against the creation of the Oti region, and for that matter, they've been expelled from some communities in the Jasikan district. Don't you think this would affect the chances of having an overwhelming endorsement in the creation of in the referendum with regards to the creation of the Oti region?
It is not going to affect the turnout and then the voting pattern, because it was a singular case of a recalcitrant reverend minister who mounted a pulpit on a day he was offering communion to his congregants, and he openly spoke against the creation of the region, and also said so many derogatory things that didn't augur well for the forward march of the campaign. It has gone under the bridge. The church members are still around. Most of them are for the creation of the region. So it wasn't a collective decision that made him make those pronouncements. So we are hopeful it will not in any way affect the voter turnout and the percentage votes that will deliver.
Meanwhile, security officers stationed in the Jasikan district have arrived, while the Electricity Company of Ghana are preparing the Togbe Akotia Assembly Hall at the Boymine Senior High School to house the collating center for the entire OT enclave. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Jasikan.
And from Fred Kwame Asari, we'll move to Precious Semovo, who reports that at the Jedu Methodist Church polling station, Sutifi North in the Bonohafo region, EC officials are also now arranging their election materials. We go to him live. He joins us on the phone. Precious, is the situation the same? Are they still arranging materials?
No, election has actually, started in the Ahafo region, specifically within the Sutifi North and South, as well as the Sinafo North and South. Now, presently, I've moved on to Goso, where at 20 minutes past 7 at Christ Apostolic Church Polling Center A and B, 40 people had, gone through the exercise. They had voted and left the premises, and even after that, there are still a long queue of people waiting, to cast their votes. And this number includes some people above the ages of 90 who spoke to me and said that they decided to get up as early as 5 a.m. to join the queue to ensure that they vote yes for the creation of the Ahafo. They believe this will bring them development. Now, I've moved on to other centers within the district and constituency. Queues, as I've seen, continues to grow by the minute. And the exercise as of now is going on smoothly, with the security officials positioning at vantage points. EC officials are present to ensure that the exercise moves on orderly.
Precious, do you see election observers from the centers that you visited?
As of now, the centers I've visited, I am yet to see any election observer at the few centers that I've visited as of now.
Precious Semovo, continue to monitor. We will come to you a bit later on. So that's Precious Semovo reporting from the Bonohafo region. The Bonohafo region is a very interesting place because we could possibly get two regions coming out of there. Where Precious is reporting from, we've got other affected areas: Esunafo South District, Esunafo North Municipality, Esutifi North District, Esutifi South District, Tano South Municipality, and Tano North Municipality. That's the Bonohafo region out of Bono Ahafo region, out of Bono Ahafo region. That's one part. The second is Bono East region, still out of the Bonohafo region. And the affected areas are Tebubu, Amanting Municipality, Nkranza South Municipality, Nkranza North District, Kentampo South District, Kentampo North Municipality, Pru Districts, also Pru West Districts, Sene East District, Sene West District, Techiman Municipality, and Techiman North District. So this is the Bono East region out of the bigger Bono Ahafo region. If we get 80% out of the 50% voter turnout voting yes, then we will see two regions created out of the Bono Ahafo region, the Ahafo region and the Bono East. All right, we cross over. We join our colleague Ohiming Teria, who's got some updates from where he's reporting.
It's not been easy. Chief, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What's your name?
My name is Benjamin Zachary.
Okay, Mr. Zachary, how did you, when did you arrive here?
I got here around 6 a.m.
6 a.m. Why this early?
I wanted to vote and go and do other things.
I see. How important is this referendum to you and other potential voters who are in this queue?
It is very, very important because looking at our regional capital, that is Sunyani currently, very far from us. So we wish we have this regional capital that is closer to us so that we can get other developmental projects here.
In terms of development, how would today's activity, I mean the exercise that you are participating, the voting, the referendum, affect development, especially in the Sini West District?
Yeah, development actually, if you look at Sini West District now, it's very far from Sunyani. So we are hoping that when a new region is created, wherever the regional capital is located, it will get closer to us, and the leaders will pay attention to Sini District.
I see. That has been Mr. Zachary, a voter who has been in the queue since 6 a.m. with the hope that he votes and to promote development in this particular area. I will match in. Anopay mame how kakra. Say Woody Santimu in our film pokra na fache me say uchuchu say. Adentina Woody America Abahasa Bri Mpoa Sabi and Kameka say one ten film point chuchu say enwie.
You ran pacho. Me ya o mine and then to Cassie. And then to Cassia, Name Manu, a ye. And there you know my baby, a catchy, a pese a quassel, Tinama away, my baby Gina Hanum.
Now, a dear Titsu now pese, Saba Wutui, a deba brew, a waha, what can say we here and then to Cassia Sabi, a way a baby Cassantom, a bebuna ubuye, a dear potty now pese, a quasso woman, Tamuhantia, Ujina Wimu, now pausing.
Rampacho and they are many a Jumaye. Baby, we school and they Omukuta and so sabi, can fatate a banasa. Inti say a boama bano a young Kosoa. Naya man so a yena bayadi a moa, Tina Mamigina Wimu.
It's been a wonderful experience speaking to my mother here. Mama, come this way and let me speak to you here. She says, yes, she left home early in the morning to take part in today's referendum with one thing in mind, just to see this particular area develop. It tells me a story of how some of the youth who have completed school are still at home and without work. And so she believes that once she takes part in today's referendum, it's going to promote development in his locality, and beyond that also bring about the needed employment to the unemployed youth who are home at the moment. Mami, say, Sadia, ye no hey, who so I do who say a bebe musa.
Pacho, me jitu, Sabi Biabe.
All right, she is very hopeful that her struggles will not go in vain. Definitely, she will get something out of it, and that is promoting development in her locality. So let's see. It's been a wonderful experience this morning speaking to voters at Bantama. This is not Kumasi Bantama, but Bantama in the Sini West District of the Bono Ahafo region, and this is the proposed Bono East region. So if the voters' enthusiasm is anything to go by, then what it means is that after today, definitely they are hoping to have a new region, and that is the Bono East region. So don't be surprised that we wake up tomorrow to hear that this part of the Bono Ahafo region is no more Bono Ahafo, but Bono East, as the voters are so energized to take part in today's exercise. Trying to send something, but you can do away with almost.
All right, so Himin Teria reporting for us this morning, telling us exactly what's happening in one of the two possible new regions in the Bono Ahafo region. And the places to vote, the Commission, as part of its work, recommended that the referendum should be held only in areas within the boundaries of the proposed regions. And the question to be posed: are you in favor of the creation of the new region? You just simply vote yes or no. Only registered voters within the proposed region should be eligible to participate. We know what controversy that also created, because some people felt everybody within the bigger region should be allowed to vote. But what it is only persons within the affected areas are eligible to vote. And that's what's been happening this morning. So two possible new regions from the Bono Ahafo and also from the northern, and one each possibly from the Volta and the western region. Let's go to Hashmin Mohammed in the northern region. Hashmin is joining us. And Hashmin, tell us exactly where you are and what can you report?
Well, I am currently in the West Mamprusi municipality, specifically in Wale Wale. It's one of the districts. It is one of the 6 districts that is part of the proposed Northeast region, and voting has started in many of the polling stations that I have visited so far. In this particular proposed Northeast region, there are 252,572 eligible voters and at least 126,288 registered voters out of that figure to cast their ballot in order for them to be able to secure the required number to be able to get the proposed region. So far, it has been very, very peaceful. We have not had any issues in many of the polling stations that I have visited. Electoral materials arrive on time and voting is ongoing, even though the weather here is not friendly.
What kind of weather exactly?
It is a very cold and dusty weather. You know, as the Hamata is building up here in the north, and that has not even prevented the residents here who are in their numbers to ensure that they are able to vote for them to have their own region.
Tell us about security, Hashmin.
Security has been beefed up in almost all the polling stations. They are not having difficult time policing the polls simply because this is not a partisan election, and the residents themselves are very passionate about the process so far. So it has made the work of the very important.
How about election observers? Do you visibly see people observing the exercise?
Well, I am yet to come across any observer so far. I want to believe as that these people will be coming across such people, but so far the stations that I have said have not come across any election observer.
So, Hashmin, you are the northeastern region. Possibly, if the vote goes yes, then we could have this region created, the northeast, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, Hashmin. Keep monitoring. We will be back with you for if you have any more updates. So Hashmin is in one part of the area, the northeast region out of the northern region. And the affected areas: Chiraponi District, East Mamprusi Municipality, Bumprugu, Nampanduri Municipality, Yonyo Nanswan District, West Mamprusi Municipality, and Mamprugu Mwakduri Districts. So by closer voting, if we have 80% of the people voting, the 50% of the people voting, and 80% of them vote yes, then we will have Northeast region created out of the northern region. That's one part of it. Here's the second half, the Savannah region, still out of the northern region. We have Bole District, Central Gonja District, East Gonja Municipality, North Gonja District, Solatuna Kauba District, and West Gonja District. We've got colleagues on the ground in all these areas. They will bring us up to speed. What we're monitoring is voter turnouts, whether the people are enthused, they're excited, and then also those observing the exercise as well, and security. Three key things and our focus also is in the Volta region. But let's cross over. Let's go to Erastus Asare Donkor, who is in Goso, to be precise. Erastus, what's happening where you are?
Well, Mama V is a serene environment, very peaceful indeed. Very cold and dry at Goso here in the Ahafo region. And this is where the new Ahafo region is being mooted and voted on today. So we have been through a number of towns before we got here. We were at Wahimso, we went to Ntotroso, we also came to Atrensia, to Shidim, and now we are here. I must say that wherever we have been, right from the beginning, from Sunyani, as we moved from town to town, there were no queues. But when we got to Goso here, we've seen a number of queues right here. In some places like the Apostolic Church area, we were supposed to have about 583 people voting in one polling station, for example, and we have about 50 people voting at the moment. So it shows clearly, and there are more people in the queue, so it shows you clearly that by midday or 1 p.m., we should be done with the voting for that area. So turnout here has been very, very encouraging right here at Goso. We'll be moving to Sankore and to check the mood there as well. Concerning security, we've seen quite a number of military personnel in pickups patrolling the various areas. About 7 armed military men in one pickup. We've seen 3 of them patrolling the area for any disturbances to maintain law and order. We've seen policemen as well patrolling the area. So it's all peaceful here at Goso, where the new Ahafo region is being voted on in a referendum.
Erastus, in the Bono Ahafo region, what we've seen is NDC and NPP coming together to get the people to vote yes. Do you see any sort of activity from the two parties?
Well, you will not even notice who is NPP and who is NDC. In fact, you find all stakeholders coming together as one people, and you could get a sense that this is something they've been craving for a very long time. All the people you speak to on the streets will tell you, we have waited for this for a long time. They tell you that we travel long distances to the regional capital in Sunyani to get documents processed, to get our things done. We can no longer be traveling like that. We need to separate ourselves from them. We need to get our own region. That is what people are saying. And then you also speak to the chiefs. For example, the chief of Ntotroso, for example, he feels that along the years, every regional minister they choose is coming from Bono, and all the ministers do not really understand their issues in their Ahafo area. And so it's high time they get somebody from their own region, be able to represent them fully, and be able to understand their issues and get development down to them in terms of roads and infrastructure. And so a lot of people are rallying around this whole referendum and are making sure that whether MPP or NDC, they make sure that people come out in their numbers to vote yes for their Ahafo region.
Erastus, where did you say you're stopping next?
We are going to Sankore.
Okay. What's particularly interesting about Sankore, just before we let you go?
Well, it's one of the flashpoints. If you remember, in past elections, there have been clashes, violent clashes in that particular area. And that is the political apex, if you can call it, one of the flashpoints identified by the security agencies in the region. So it will be interesting to get to know what will be happening there as we vote on this particular referendum. If it's about unity, it's interesting to get to know that. And that is where the military pickups are heading towards at the moment. And so we'll be moving there and to gauge the moment as people gather to vote.
Erastus will be with you every step of the way. Erastus Asare Donkor is one of my many colleagues on the ground today, reporting in the various regions where we could possibly get 6 extra regions coming out if we get all these centers voting yes, and we have a massive 80% of yes, then we will have additional 6 regions. We've got colleagues in the Western region as well. We've got colleagues in the Volta region. We've got colleagues in the Bonahafu region and in the Northern region. We'll be gauging the mood in other centers. But this is your election headquarters. You're watching Joy News. Is the AM show, and what we're doing is touching base with our colleagues on the ground who are reporting on a very historic exercise. Is the referendum to create regions. Stay with us. Still ahead, we've got a conversation with a Deputy Electoral Commission Chair, Dr. Bosman Asare. He'll have an interaction with my colleague Roland Walker. And to all you music lovers, those of you who are still making merry and relaxing within the season, Mr. Ken Kabono is still here with us. So don't go away. This is the place to be. It's Joy News and it's your election headquarters. It's exactly 8 a.m. here on Joy News on the AM show, certainly on your election headquarters. And we're still touching base with our colleagues on the ground on the historic exercise that's taking place today in our country. Martina Bugri is in Bwepe currently, but reports 4 centers at the Yape Kuzugu constituency is yet to start the exercise because of transport challenges. She joins us live now for more. Martina, the voting should have started an hour ago.
Yes, but going through 4 polling centers in Yape, the challenge most of them were facing was transport. I found a lady who was carrying a ballot box on her head from the road to the center because there was no means of transport. Some were also on the roadside waiting for passenger vehicles to move to a nearer community, and then they can look for motorbikes to go to the centers they have been sent to. But I'm currently in Bupe and at the Bupe Clinic A. Here they are voting. We have large numbers here who have turned out to vote despite the very cold weather. And people are actually out in their numbers to vote.
Any conversations with the Electoral Commission? Why should people be carrying and walking with ballot boxes?
Just a moment ago, the EC of chairman for the area here walked in, and then I'll be speaking to him. We will get reasons why people have to look for their own transport to be able to move and ballot boxes to their centers.
So at least in 4 centers, Martina, you're reporting voting hasn't begun because they haven't received their materials.
They had received the materials, but to transport them to these centers was a challenge, and so they had not started yet.
Okay, but did you see that people were interested in voting? Were they waiting for the materials to arrive at the centers?
At 2 centers, there were long queues, but there was nobody yet.
And security?
Security, in some centers, virtually no security officer, but at Bupe currently, I've seen about 3 security officers in the polling center that I am.
Okay, so are the people excited? Are they enthusiastic? Are they looking forward to this? Do they understand what their votes would mean?
Exactly. People are excited about it. A lot of people are excited, especially with the support from their chiefs and both parties. They know that it is time for them to also have their own reason. And so when you speak to them, they know that we are here for these reasons and we want to do it. Now, in Yape like this, yesterday was their, today is their market day, but we are told that yesterday they decided to celebrate the market so that today people would have the opportunity to go and do the voting without any problem. Farmers, I'm told, decided not to go to their farms but to stay home and vote. And so you believe that people are enthused about the whole referendum exercise.
Martina, I want to leave you so you can put the questions to the Electoral Commission representative in these areas where the materials are yet to arrive, at least at the centers. We will join you again when you have answers from this representative. So Martina Bugri reporting for us. We could possibly have a Savannah region and at the northeast region, out of the northern region, 2 possible regions from the Savannah region, the areas affected: Bole District, Central Gonja District, East Gonja Municipality, North Gonja District, Sola Tuna Kalba District, and West Gonja District. So there you have it. The people within these areas are expected to be part of today's exercise votes. And we will see. We're trying to monitor in terms of voter turnouts. We're looking at security as well. And we've been told that Cordeo is taking about 50 persons to observe today's exercise. So we're monitoring in terms of monitors or observers. We're also looking out for those who are observing today's exercise. All right, so where did we come from? Why are we here today? Well, we're here today because 6 regions were proposed to be created, and the affected regions, Bunohafo region, 2 could be coming from the Bunohafo region, so we have 3, Northern region 2, Volta region 1, the Western region 1. And remember, 17th October 2017, the President inaugurated the Commission of Inquiry, which was chaired by retired Supreme Court Justice S.A. Brobe. 26th of June 2018, the Commission presented its report to the President. Some of the members of this particular commission: Dr. Grace Bediako, former government statistician; Malvi Mohammed bin Saleh Amir, missionary in charge, Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission Ghana; Professor Kwesi Kwafo Adakwa, former vice chancellor of the KNUST; Ms. Gladys Tete, local government expert; Mr. Robert Ajeni, retired director of education; Dr. David Esau, senior research fellow, University of Cape Coast; also Professor George Owusu, lecturer, ISER, and Director, Center for Urban Management Studies, University of Ghana; Ms. Josephine Hughes, legal practitioner, and also forming part of this particular commission, Mr. Jacob Sarr, who is also a legal practitioner. Their mandate: to inquire pursuant to the petitions into the need and substantial demand for the creation of new regions, and thereby the alteration of the Western, Bunohafo, Northern, and Volta regions. Okay, so more of the background, but we want to cross over and go to the Volta region. We're being joined now by the Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Francis Doku, on the line. Mr. Doku, thank you so much for your time. Our colleague, Fred Kwame Asari, reported a bit early on that you had given a certain directive asking for reporters not to go to the ground but to converge at a particular center, correct?
Yeah, we're having pockets of intelligence pointing to the fact that the people are saying that if they find anyone who is not known in the area, they will drive the person away. And so we had an emergency reg check last night, and it turned out that in order not to have that security challenge, we should rather move the pressmen to the Joint Ops Center, where their safety is guaranteed. The fact of the matter is that the enclave is large. It is not possible for the security to be at everywhere at a point in time. And so in the interest of security of the pressmen, we are suggesting that they move to the command center, where they can set up a press center and collect the results as they come in.
But Mr. Doku, these are reporters, at least my colleague Fred Kwame Asari can be identified. Apart from the fact that he's in a visible Joy News outfit, he also has an accreditation tag on him. So how could he not be identified? How could he be referred to as a stranger?
Well, the issue of identification of a pressman came up at the meeting yesterday. But like you and I know, sorry to say, the village folk is not interested in the accreditation card that you wear. It's not interested in the branded T-shirt that bears the name of the media house. And so in the interest of peace, for their security, that is why we are advising that they move to the referendum center.
But Mr. Doku, this is not the first time we're carrying out, well, obviously this is the first time we're doing something like this, but we've been reporting on elections, major elections in this country.
Well, I wish you were here to see the agitation on the ground.
So what is your challenge as police? Because at least you have security personnel positioned at every polling center, correct?
We have.
So what's the difficulty?
Like I'm saying, it is not possible for us to be at every corner of the enclave at the same time. Because as we patrol, it might happen that we move from one location to another. Before we could come back, there is a security problem behind. And that is what we want to avoid.
But what's the people's challenge with the reporters?
Well, I think the issue, you are not getting it clearly. They are saying that if they find somebody that they are not familiar with.
No, but isn't that total disorder? I mean, if we're all saying that in my area, if I find someone I'm not familiar with, then I'm going to pounce on the person.
As a total disorder. We cannot.
So how do we define it then, sir? Because what you're saying is the people are saying if they find strangers, people they cannot identify, people they are not familiar with in their areas, then they're going to beat them up?
We cannot say that it's a security challenge.
So, sir, help us to understand.
You see, as going forward, we review our security strategies, and this is where we are.
So how do the reporters do their work then?
And that is why we are saying that they should converge at the collation center.
And then who gives them the information?
The election officers are there to provide them with the figures.
At what intervals? Because we're reporting, this is like minute reports. We're touching base with our colleagues on the ground for them to tell us what's been happening. So how do you successfully achieve that when you are at a center and relying on EC officials who are on the ground working to give you those information?
Well, that is the collective decision of RECSEC.
So is the Volta Regional Police Command just watching these people say that if we get people in our area that we don't know, we're going to beat them up? And so the way to go is to just tell reporters, don't go to the areas because the people say that they're going to beat you up.
I believe that is why we have the security command to take decisions and advise on the appropriate measures that will ensure an incident-free process. This is where we have come to, based on the intelligence that we have gathered on the ground. And if they think that their security is assured, they can go ahead. We don't have a problem with that.
No, Mr. Doku, I'm just trying to understand how this is a counter to the threats. Because I thought that when you pick intelligence on the ground, you try to counter it. But it's interesting that how you counter is to say that reporters don't go and do your work on the ground, rather converge at a command center and let's get the EC officials to give you with information.
Right. You are not getting the issue right.
Please help me to understand.
Done a review of our threat analysis, and this is where we are. I don't think it's out of place for us to provide an opinion on the security situation, because that is why we are here as security officers.
So what it means is that any reporter who goes to the polling stations to do their work, essentially you're on your own. It's at your own risk.
Well, if that is how you understand it.
Oh, I'm trying to understand it. So if I'm not putting it right, in your own terms.
It looks like we are stretching the issue too far.
Are we, sir? Because I'm only trying to understand where you're coming from. So our viewers can also appreciate.
That we have received from the various intelligence officers. And that is why in an exercise like this, it is important for us to throw out people out there to go and look for intelligence. And collectively, as RECSEC, this is what we are saying. That's notwithstanding, the patrols are enforced as we speak. The military have gone out. The police are also out there patrolling every part of the enclave. But as I said, it is not possible for us to be at every corner of the enclave at At the same time.
All right, DCOP Francis Doku will leave it here. That's the Volta Regional Police Commander who says that they've picked up intelligence from the ground. And so they're asking reporters to converge at a particular command center where they could report from. But they cannot vouch for their safety if they decided to go on the ground. That's the Volta Regional Police Commander giving us details from the earlier report shared by Fred Kwame Asare. So that's DCOP Francis Doku. He's a man in charge of the Volta region, and that's the intelligence that, according to him, the regional security picked up. And that's why they are conveying what they have to reporters. So we will keep, it's very interesting how things are developing, particularly in the Volta region. We'll keep an eye on the Volta region. Ivy Setoji and Fred Kwame Asare, my colleagues in the Volta region, will bring you up to speed on anything happening in the Volta region. But we're here today. It's a special referendum, a very historic exercise in our country. By close of day today, possibly we could have additional 6 new regions, you know, with the 10 that we already have. So we'll possibly have 16 regions. And we'll be speaking to a Deputy Electoral Commission Chair, Dr. Bosman Asare. Roland Walker is on that beat for us. So Roland Walker, if you can hear me. There are a few things that have come up that we would want Dr. Bosman Asare to address, but let's begin the conversation.
With Dr. Bosman Asare. And Dr. Bosman Asare is a Deputy Electoral Commissioner for Ghana's Electoral Commission. And we know that they are the main body supervising the referendum in 4 regions. And the outcome, if it's a yes, the redemarcation of those regions into 6 other regions ultimately. And of course, we're coming from his home, so at least you'll be hearing some mourning and some crying of children. Of course, they're part of the family life. It's a holiday season, but they good morning to you, Dr. Bosman Asare.
Good morning to you too, and good morning to all the viewers.
It's a Christmas season, of course, but you have to do good work, and we know that it's important. Now, the creation of the 6 regions, but what has to be done first is to ensure that we have for the creation of the new regions. So far, what can you tell us, complementing what our correspondents have told us about security, the flashpoints, and notably those that need to have their names on the register to get the voting process underway, as we know we've witnessed in many of the areas?
So far, I think the information coming is that everything appears to be going very well. Queues are formed in several of the polling stations. You know, we are working with almost 4,800 polling stations. And in terms of security, I think about 2-3 days ago, we got information that the police have really intercepted some weapons, etc., I think in the OT areas of the Volta regions. So in terms of security, the police has given us the strong. And this morning, based on what reports from Joy News, Joy FM, and other networks are telling us, almost every polling station, not even almost every polling station has security personnel over there ensuring that everything is done orderly. And even beyond that, there are some places we've classified as flashpoints. And over there, not only one person, you have 2 police officers or 2 security personnel ensuring that orderliness prevail. And when you go to the district offices of the commission too, as I speak to you now, security presence is so intensive. You go to the regional offices of the commission in all the 6 areas, everything is under control in terms. From the standpoint of the Electoral Commission, everything is clearly underway, everything is on track. We expect the voters to go there in their numbers. We expect them to vote for their specific preference. They have 2 options. There is a no represented by the. We are yet to hear of any glitches. It's under control.
But in the meantime, it also how has the deployment been like, and the collaboration with the security agencies to make sure that the atmosphere is conducive for voting?
You know, during the registration exercise, we had some challenges in certain places. In the northeast area, the Tripoli area, we had some challenge in
Enjoy great tasting meals with Frytol, the cholesterol-free cooking oil, fortified with vitamin A and endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association. Frytol, love your food, love your life. This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
This election is that, you know, unlike any other election, if the voter turnout is even, let's say, 20%, we will still be able to get a winner. But for this particular election, what is happening is that to be at least 50%, and this is well established in the Constitution. So after that, out of that at least 50% taking part in the voting, you also need 80% of them to vote yes. The ballot paper will have, are you in favor of the creation of the Ahafo region? If yes, then the yellow is there, you thumbprint. And we need of those who are registered. So that means if a place like Ahafo has about 3 threshold, another 80% of them must vote yes for the creation of the region to take place. So this is a very difficult exercise, which I do expect that the petitioners have done what they have to do, and even today they may have some machines in place to ensure that people will go to house to tell people, if you know you have not voted, make sure you go out.
It can be done.
No, I think, you know, there are certain things, a lot of things we do, or it may not be a formal activity. But if you have some individuals moving from house to house, I don't think there is any law that is against that. As long as you are not publicly campaigning, I don't think you'll be violating any law.
But formally, we can have the various interest groups go to the geographical areas, the locations, the residences, and where they have the mass of the populations of the electorate to urge them to come out and vote, or perhaps do whatever. It also means that no people can do that. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yes. Yeah, this is democracy. You know, a region to be created. So those who think they don't want a region to be created, no, informally, when people are in their homes and you go there, you know, normally in elections on the day of the voting, we don't want a situation whereby people will be publicly campaigning. But if there are informal, like we do in our national election, people, oh, have you gone there to vote, etc., I don't think you'll be violating any law. But we should also understand that, yes, people are allowed to campaign. No, people are also allowed to campaign. Because I don't think even those who want the region to be created, you don't want a situation whereby you are engaging in any shenanigan or you are imposing your will on the people. You want to make sure that the democratic exercise is undertaken in such a way that you know that people who are to make and those who are saying yes, they also have a legitimate point to make.
Now, just this morning, we were told that some journalists were having complaints in the Volta region that they had been advised by the police that some of the interest groups, especially for the yes votes, were saying they didn't want people who were not of the locale, who were not from the area, to be either reporting or to be part of the other monitoring groups, etc. What were some of the outlines that were agreed with these groupings, and then also the security agencies as far as the coverage, monitoring?
You know, we shouldn't forget that we live in a society where the democracy is still a work in progress. You go to many of our communities, our society, etc. Still, people don't appreciate the beauty of democracy. Some people then just don't understand why, if all of us are saying yes, you should say no. So I concede that in some of our communities, we are going to have some minor skirmishes, especially when the indigenes are saying that this is what we think we want. And you are thinking that, no, I don't think this is what you want. So there is a problem with it when it comes to many of our communities. But I do also expect that people who live beyond this and understand that it's a choice. It's either yes or no. And those of you who want the yes can go out there, campaign and tell people why they should vote yes. In March, they out there and tell people. But you know, when you are not from the area, people get to think that maybe you want to undermine the collective will of the people. But ideally, in a working democracy, you want to make sure that the yes people have their say, the no people also have their say. But we shouldn't also forget that to be given accreditation to represent yes or no, you must write officially to the accreditation by the commission, and you are doing that on your own. That will also
We have to apologize for that technical challenge we have with the link to Roland Walker, who has a conversation with Dr. Bosman Asare. I'm afraid we have to end it here because of the technical challenges, but we'll be linking up with some more of our colleagues. We haven't been to the Western region. Natalia Kwanzaa is my colleague in the Western region. We'll touch base with her on this. And then if we can, we'll also go to Yendi and join Justice Beidou on the final funeral rites of the late Iyana. And then more updates coming your way, particularly with this referendum and a lot more here on the show. Let's get some areas in the Western region just before we raise Natalia Kwanzaa on the line to see what's been happening in the Western region. By close of day today, if we get a yes vote, 80% of the people voting yes, then we will have one region from the Western region in addition to the Western region that we know. Natalia joins us. Natalia, where exactly are you and what can you report?
Okay, I'm in Teshiria, so the supposed regional capital when the Western North has been created. So far this morning, they started voting around 7:05. From all the centers we visited, it is clear that there is enough. They are well prepared, and the people are coming, but they are not coming as expected. They are coming in bits. But from what I've gathered on ground, it is all clear that they are all in support of the creation of the Western North. As we roam through the town, we hear people say, vote Western North yes, and then there are lots of music created for people to vote yes for the Western North.
All right, Natalia, how about security? Is there tight security in at least the centers you visited?
Yes, there is tight security. There are places where there are military, police, and fire service combined. There are places where there are only police and then fire service. There is tight security over here. And it's obvious that for the Western North, they are all in support of this. So I think things are a bit flexible as compared to other parts of the region where the referendum is taking place.
Okay. And Natalia Kwanzaa, we'll leave you to monitor the situation from where you are and join you a bit later on. We're bringing a close to the centers or the regions that we're monitoring this morning, at least on the AM show. There will be more later on News Desk at 10 a.m. So our colleagues bringing us up to speed with what's happening with regards to the referendum in the Western region. Some of the affected areas are Win Municipality, Bia East District, Bia West District, Bodi District, where we have the Member of Parliament strongly asking people to show up and vote yes. Joabeso District, Sefi, Akontomra, Bibieni, Amiaso Bekwai Municipality, Swaman District, and Sefi Vioso Municipality. So these are some of the areas affected, and the major findings from the Commission, why this exercise is crucial, for instance, is because of road infrastructure. So the Commission concluded that there were substantial inequalities in road development. And in terms of government and public services, the Commission found that there was a general alienation from government due to the challenges of accessing essential services or institutions such as courts, passport offices, etc. And on the economy and employment, the proposed regions have failed to attract needed investment and infrastructure required to enable them tap the region's natural resources. That was also one of the recommendations by the Commission. And we're told this exercise, if we're successful in creating the regions, it will also empower and get a lot more people to be participants. Also, the ethnic, cultural, and religious issues could better be addressed. In addition to spatial extent of existing regions, the Commission found that these areas are very far from their respective regional capitals. So essentially, it's to get governance a lot more closer to the people. Some have argued that we're still going to share the very little resources that we have anyway. So what difference would it make? But those who are within the particular areas who are affected, they kind of appreciate the importance of this exercise and how far it could go. So that's by way of updates. That's what we have for you. There's more. Just go to our Facebook page. We keep updating you there as well. Still ahead, Ketsi, Awake Purified Drinking Water will bring you some show business. We've got Mr. Ken Kabuno in the studio. So if you're enjoying the holiday, if you're enjoying the season, we've got something to relax you. And he would improvise with almost anything. Who knows? It could be you next on his lips. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. You're still watching the AM show.